Is it time to blow this shit up? Stay tuned after the intro.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
This is Raiders Allegiance with Lunatic Raider. Welcome to the dark side.
What is the deal, Raider Nation? Welcome to another episode of Raiders Allegiance with yours truly, Lunatic Raider. Man, let's get straight to the point, man. Is it time to blow it all up? Is it time to hit reset, then go ahead and redo this roster from the top of the organization all the way down to the players? Is it time to remove Mayock and replace him with a new GM, Basashia with a new coach, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator? What do we do? Because right now, these past couple of years, we've been stuck in mediocrity. 8-8. We got an extra game this year. We got 6-7 right now. 4 games left. I doubt we make the playoffs. To keep it 100. You know what I mean? It's nice to be optimistic and be like, oh, we still got a chance. But we ain't got a chance playing like shit like we've been playing these last weeks. I mean, we lucked up against the Cowgirls, but that was it. That was it. We taking L's. It's the same thing over and over again. You come out the gate fast, you look good, second half of the season come, and it's a total fucking collapse. I know I'm tired of it. I've been a Raider fan for years. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about as far as before I moved to Vegas from Oakland. I was a season ticket holder for 3 years before I moved out here. And they say, oh, just be patient. Man, how many fucking how much patience can a motherfucker have? Let's keep it 100. Everybody want to sugarcoat shit and be PC. Throw all that shit out the window. Let's keep it 100, Raider Nation. Let's keep it 100. Let's look in the mirror and what is we doing? You know what I mean? And I understand the turmoil and the speed bumps that hit this team this season, but adversity is going to always hit you in life, whether it's sport or whether it's your everyday life. The whole thing about your mental fortitude is how do you persevere that turbulence to get to the other side? Do you crumble up and fold, or you keep your head up, chest out, and you face it head on? Only 2 choices. Simple selection. Now you can quit and fold up if you want to, but that's not what we're trying to build the foundation. That's not what we're trying to build this team on foundation-wise. You know what I mean? And it's year in, year out. Now Mike Mayock, let's start with him. A lot of people say off with his head. But my perception is this. A first-time ever GM in his first year, what you expect to knock it out the park with his draft picks? Man, this man gotta learn on the fly. You know what I mean? He gotta learn how to transition the knowledge and the scouting reports into the physical player. You know, there's a lot of shit you gotta go through with evaluating talent. You know, a lot of times it's God-given ability. Other time is heart and dedication, mindset. It's all kind of stuff that goes into evaluating talent. Don't matter what they did at college. That's part of it, but it ain't all set on that. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if you came from Clemson or Alabama. What kind of individual are you? You know what I mean? What fortitude do you have? Do you persevere like we just stated what the team needs to do through hard times? Do you keep fighting and grinding and fighting to get to where you got to get to? Or you just take a paycheck and call it a day? And they got people in the real world like this at their jobs. I'm sure you work with people that just come for a paycheck and half-ass do the work. But then you got other people that it's just in them to work hard. You know what I mean? Failure ain't an option. So with Mike Mayock, to me, this past draft he had is way better than the first year he had. But that's what's expected of a first-time GM. You got to see progress. Regression is not what we want. Progress is what we're after. And I seen with the draft picks that we got from this draft, all of them ain't hits. Don't nobody go into the draft and hit on every draft pick, period. Now, where you draft them, that might be an issue. First round, second round, where do you know what I mean? But it's a guessing game. You can assume a player will fall to you, but that's assumption. And like they say, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. You can't assume. You got to be spot on with your draft. If you feel that person is what you need at that time, at that position to help your team win, you got to go for it. To hear what the outsiders say about, oh, it's too high of a pick, you could have got them in the second round. How the hell you know if they could have came in the second round? How you know what other teams has won? You think teams is going to leak out there the players they looking at and what's on their draft board? Hell, the draft board is top secret. Hell, we know this. Don't no team want nobody seeing their draft board because you can jump over a team and take what they want. Plain and simple. So you don't know what another team is after if they covet the team or the player that you want. So with all due respects to Mike Mayock, give him one more year. Plus, I want to see the difference in the dynamics of who was really making the draft picks when we drafted. Was it Gruden or was it Mayock? Was it an equal share? Or did Gruden have a little more say than Mayock had? Or vice versa? This draft without Gruden is going to tell a lot of who was really in that draft room, that war room, making these picks. So give Mayock one more year. Let's see if that was the case. You know what I mean? If he was the one making all the picks, like I said, his second year as GM, pick-wise, way better than the first. Hands down. And we can see by who's left on the roster and who is performing as rookies this year. We got rookies on this team this year that can perform. We're seeing this. You know what I mean? We're seeing this. You got Divine Diablo. I think give Regis some more run because he looked it kind of sharp even with the little bit of carries he had. But I always admired his vision and his patience in the preseason. So give Regis his burn. You know what I mean? Kenyon Drake hurt, gone for the season. Let Regis be that next dude. Let him, man, it's time. Man, we ain't gonna make the playoffs. Let's keep it 100, dude. We got all these teams in front of us that's winning and we losing. How you gonna make the playoffs doing that shit? And they added an extra wild card spot and we ain't gonna get it. Hell, Denver and the Chargers, and we're last in the division, dude. You know what I mean? We're last. It's laughable because the shit is like Groundhog Day, the movie. The shit just keep reoccurring over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So with that, Mayock, I say give him one more year. Now, as far as the coaching staff goes, Mayock needs to go ahead and go out in the coach's search. He didn't have that opportunity coming to the Raiders. Remember, Gruden was already there. Then they brought Mayock in. Let Mayock go ahead and take part in the coaching search. Let's get a coach that's coming in here with the same focus and mindset on how we want this team to play defensively and offensively to win games. So head coach, very important, and I think Mayock needs to have a part in this. He needs to go out here on a search. He got relationships with everybody in the league from being from TV. Coaches, assistant coaches, coordinators. He has knowledge of this. So I think in the coaching search, he would be very good in finding the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So let him take part in this search and get the guy in here he feels and believes it's a no-brainer. No more 10-year, $10 million a year contracts like Gruden got. You know what I mean? You start off with a good, maybe a 4-year, depending on the status or the stature of that person that you hire as far as experience. A green guy, brand new to it, 4 years, I think, with an option 5 for a coach, which ain't got nothing to do with the salary cap, but I'm just saying, you got to be able to show that you can come in here and do this job and turn this team around. A veteran coach, give him a 5-year deal. 5-year off bat. 5 years off bat. Depending on who he is, it could be 6, 7, 8 million a year. Not that 10 like we did with Gruden. Gruden was a name. You know what I mean? He was a brand, basically, if you think about it. Gruden was his own brand. Just like Madden was his own brand. But as far as coaching goes, Gruden was his own brand. He had that one Super Bowl in Tampa Bay that's on his mantelpiece that, you know what I mean, solidified or closely solidified him as a coach. Plus, he has familiarity with the Raiders from being with us before. But this time around, let Mayock go ahead and do this coach's search. Get good interviews in. Get the right guy for the job. And also, you have to pay attention behind the coach. If you bring this coach in, who is most likely going to be his coordinators? Is he bringing in a defensive coordinator that can bring in a scheme for us to be competitive against other teams' offenses? Do we go to a 3-4? Do we stay 4-3 base? You know what I mean? What is the mindset of the defensive coordinator that the next head coach possibly can bring in? You know what I mean? So when they hold these interviews, which I know they're going to ask them, who would be your offensive coordinator? Who would be your defensive coordinator? They got a list of people that they will probably bring with them. And it most likely could come from the team that they're currently with. So we got to pay attention. We need, I say, to go after someone with playoff experience. Leftwich, I love that. Bieniemy, I love that too. Just because look at the organizations they're with. They're in the playoffs and they play at a high level, like championship level. Leftwich might be good. If you keep Carr, Leftwich might be wonderful with Carr. But if you don't keep Carr, there's veterans that can possibly become free agents. I would still look at, let's see, who possibly could be out there. I know some quarterbacks like Wilson in Seattle has teams, but everybody knows Vegas is a destination. It don't matter who you are, okay? Wilson possibly to a Raiders. I want a quarterback that's, if you're mobile with an arm, that's great. It'll get you out of troubles and sacks. And you can extend plays. So Wilson would be nice. Deshaun Watson, the legal trouble concerns me. That might hamper a lot of things. You know what I mean? So, and plus, what is Houston willing to accept the trade for him? Same thing with Wilson in Seattle. What would be a package? Because you don't want to give up. I wouldn't want to give up no first round picks unless it's an elite quarterback. Maybe you package Carr, you know what I mean, with a first. That might do it, or maybe you might do 2 firsts in Carr. It all depends. Because, like, there's teams out there that can win with Carr. This is not the right sit. To me, we'll get to the quarterback in a minute. But to Carr, as far as that goes. Right now, I'm discussing potential quarterbacks that can come in. So, oh, man. Aaron Rodgers with Green Bay, I will love it. Because if he comes, see, Adams is the receiver that everybody connects with Carr because of college days. But I think there's 2 quarterbacks that Adams would deal with. 1, if Carr stays. 2, if Carr leaves, but Aaron Rodgers comes. You know, if Aaron Rodgers comes, I think I know for real Adams will play with them because they're doing damn good on their last year in Green Bay. You know what I mean? So, in Adams, Rodgers, not reunited because they ain't going to really be separated. They're just going to leave one team and go to another. We need a number 1 receiver. We don't have that. We don't have a number 1. We barely got a number 2. And who was the number 2? Hell, Renfro might be the number 1. You know what I mean? So, I would keep Renfro. I would keep Waller. Good 2 pieces. Edwards, consistency, he lacks that. We need to go out there and get good receivers. Even draft one. Get a good receiver in the second round, maybe. If you use a first round pick, but see, you don't have to trade for Rodgers because Rodgers is going to be done with the team anyway. He got 1 more year and that's it. So you don't have to give up picks for him. Wilson you would have to probably trade for, and Watson you would have to trade for. You can keep your first round pick and get Rodgers. Same thing with getting Adams. He's 1 year deal too, I think also. So he's a free agent also. I don't think they're going to franchise him. That's a lot of money, and Green Bay ain't known for doing that. So Rodgers and Adams coming to the Raiders, then the Raiders go into the draft and draft a number 1 receiver. You know what I mean? Give Rodgers weapons. You keep Waller, you keep Renfro. Now you're set. Now you're set. That rookie receiver, if it's a first round pick type receiver and you pick right, could be your number 2 with Adams. And you got Waller and Renfro in the slot. Come on now. With Rodgers throwing to him, second, third rounds, you go offensive line. If you don't go offensive line rookie-wise, go in free agency, get you some solid guards, and get you, that's basically what you need. Solid guards and a right tackle. That'll solidify your line. You got to pay money. The salary cap is going up $20 million plus. And I think what happened was, with our doing what we did with the offensive line this past year, is because the salary cap went backwards $20 million. We dropped way off. So we had to get that money somewhere else to get other players on the team. And Ngakoue was a hell of a pickup. Perryman was a hell of a pickup. You know what I mean? So you had to free up money, and they chose the offensive line. You had older dudes on the offensive line making big money. Where's Incognito? There it is right there. You got to go another route. So now you go back into free agency, gaining that $20 million you lost last year, plus some. I think it went up $25 million, if I'm correct. I'm not 25, $26 million. The salary cap is going up for this coming season. So you have money, and we're under the cap. You know? So you go out in free agency and you get you some solid ass offensive linemen. You gotta have an offensive line. We see this. The only time we was good, we had a good offensive line. You know what I mean? Defensive wise, you might have to reevaluate Abrams. Trayvon Mullen, I think you're gonna have to reevaluate him. Casey Hayward. Hey, Casey gotta stay. That dude is solid at corner. You just gotta get another corner to match his production, and we're solid. Morick, rookie, first year learning, he's gonna develop, no problem. Abram, coverage is suspect. Can't cover. Good up against the line, against the run and stuff. Maybe you might want to think, and I'm serious about moving Abram to linebacker, because I think he could prosper at linebacker. Covering ain't his thing. And you know, it hurts us at times, you know what I mean? His coverage is not that great. So those are things we got to do. All in all, I think if we get the head coach right and he brings in the coordinators right and we do right in free agency in the draft, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. We're looking long game here. We're not worried about just winning now. We're looking long game. I'd rather have longevity where we're in the mix for a Super Bowl for 5 years than just be in the mix for one and then have to rebuild after that one anyway. But I know a lot of us is thirsting for a Super Bowl. It's been years, you know what I mean? But if we do it right, have the right blueprint, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but it has to be done right. Everything has to have its pecking order. Selections got to be right. Trades got to make sense. Free agency got to be the right number you give them in cash. Draft picks got to be correct. Maybe you can move around in the draft, trade up, trade down. We don't know. We got to wait. The draft is here in Vegas when the draft happens this year. So we're hosting the draft. We got to knock the draft. This is where you got to knock the draft out of the park, because basically it's like we have to blow it up somewhat. Not the whole thing. Coaches, yeah, they got to go. Mayock, I think, stays one more year. Certain players, you let them walk, you trade them away. Keep the ones that's been producing and showing heart and consistency. That's where you start. Your leaders. You know what I mean? If you keep Core, get Core an offensive line. Let's get Adams here. Let's draft the number 1 receiver. Give him that. Because obviously to keep it 100, and it's not choosing the Core haters over the Core lovers. This is just the actual factual truth that we have to give Core better. I mean, come on now. Everybody say, oh, we always got to give Core better. They do the same thing for Mahomes. They do the same thing for Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Look what they gave him. They go out and they get what they need to get for that quarterback to be successful. They took away the stuff that made Wilson in Seattle successful. How's Seattle doing? Exactly. They're doing boo-boo. They don't have what they had when they was a Super Bowl contender. That's gone. They got Wilson. He was hurt, but even when he was playing, you know what I mean? So, I think that's all we got to do. Keep Mayock, get rid of the coaches, make better choices. Let's see what the choices look like in the draft and free agency with Mayock running the ship. Because there's debate out there of who was really running shit with the draft between Gruden and Mayock. Now we'll find out. This draft, we will find out. If Mayock go in here and make the wise decision like the best available player at that point when we pick, if he does that and no more reaches, then I know who was doing it. We know who did it then. You know what I mean? That's a telltale sign of showing you who was really in control. So now, give the control to Mayock. Let him go take part in lead the coaching search. Get the right coach who will bring in the right staff to give us these wins. We're not too far off. We're middle of the pack and we're garbage. Keep it 100. We're 6-7 and we're not good. So, I think a change at the helm of being coach and everything else and getting the right players and making the right draft picks come in, we'll be solid. So I think it's a semi blow up that we need to do. Like I said, it's a full blow up at the coaching staff, but let Mayock get one more shot at this on his own with no Gruden in his ear. Let's see what really happens. So with that being said, you guys, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Raiders Allegiance. But before I let y'all tiptoe up out of here, as usual, I want you to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all the there we go. See, I'm pissed at the Kansas City loss, man. That was a horrendous ass loss. But I mean, that's enough of that. We discussing on how we make this team better. So anyway, go ahead, like I said, subscribe, smash that like button, hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all the content I release. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Lunatic Raider, and you've been watching Raiders Allegiance, and I'm out.